this man on your screen. Officer stopped 43-year-old Wesley Brownlee early this morning.
Our surveillance team followed this person while he was driving.
Out of Stockton, police say they have made a series of connected killings. Several Stockton leaders announced the arrest in a press conference today. Police Chief Stanley McFadden says this man on your screen, officer stopped 43-year-old Wesley Brownlee early this morning.
Our surveillance team followed this person while he was driving. We watched his patterns and determined early this morning he was on a mission to kill.
And we begin with that breaking news tonight coming out of Stockton. Police say they have made a series of connected killings. Several Stockton leaders announced the arrest in a press conference today. Police Chief Stanley McFadden says this man on your screen, officer stopped 43-year-old Wesley Brownlee early this morning.
Our surveillance team followed this person while he was driving. We watched his patterns and determined early this morning he was on a mission to kill. He was out hunting.
It's a massive update tonight. With more details on this arrest, we go to KCRA 3's Michelle Bandur, who is live in Stockton. Michelle, I know you were there in person when this news was announced today. What have we learned so far?
Well, Brittany, police believe that they stopped this accused killer on his way to find his 8th victim. Police also say that it was community tips to Crime Stoppers and good old-fashioned police work that led them to the accused killer.
The suspect's reign of terror in our community has come to an end.
The Stockton Chief of Police and city leaders announced the arrest of this man, 43-year-old Wesley Brownlee, who lives in Stockton. They believe he is the one responsible for killing 5 people in Stockton, 1 in Oakland, and injuring another.
Surveillance team followed this person while he was driving. We watched his patterns and determined early this morning he was on a mission to kill. He was out hunting.
Police say officers followed Brownlee from his home around 2 this morning and stopped him in his car at the intersection of Winslow Way and Village Green Drive, marked here with the yellow box. It was near an apartment complex they believe he was looking for victims. They also recovered this handgun in his car and are running tests to see if it was used in all 7 shootings. The chief says they've been speaking with the victims' families throughout the investigation and gave them the news.
I can't go into our conversations, but our talks were very emotional. They want us to bring this person to justice.
And police say just because they made an arrest does not mean the investigation is over. They say they still have a lot of work to do, and they still want people in the community, like they have been all along, to give them any tips if they still have any information that could help them. Again, Crime Stoppers, a tip to Crime Stoppers, help detectives track down the suspect. Wesley Brownlee is expected to be in court on Tuesday. That's when we'll find out all of the charges filed against him. Reporting live in Stockton, Michelle Bandur, KCRA 3 News.
Michelle, thank you. And we know there have been questions throughout this investigation about who was responsible for these killings. So at this point, are police looking for any other suspects?
No, police tell us right now that this is the only suspect at this time that they believe is connected to all of the killings. Brittany.
All right, Michelle, thank you so much. We want you to take a look here at this video on your screen. Stockton police released this nearly 2 weeks ago, saying this was a person of interest in their investigation. Now, we have shown you this video here on air, online, and on social media many times. After today's press conference, Stockton police confirmed with KCRA 3 they believe the man in this surveillance video is Brownlee, the man they arrested today. Attorney General Rob Bonta is speaking out about this arrest as well. In a statement, the Attorney General said in part, quote, "Because of our collaborative work, the citizens of Stockton and California communities can feel comfort in knowing that the suspect is now in custody."
Wow, man.
Begin with this horrific
Wow.
shooting in Raleigh.
Wasn't really expecting that today when, I woke up. I don't think a lot of us was expecting this news today, but there has been an arrest in the Stockton, California serial killer case. We are now talking about 7 victims at this point. Uh, it- Stunning what the police officer said about how Wesley Brownlee, who is the reported killer who has been arrested, was hunting his next victim when he was stopped, when he was arrested, caught with gun in hand. You can tell that there's definitely some evidence that leads them to believe that they've got their man. Stunning. And, people have been questioning, people have been wondering, is there a serial killer hunting people in the dark streets of Stockton, California? There's been several people that have been gunned down. Randomly, it seems. We've seen a couple of cases like that, right? Serial killers that are randomly just shooting and killing people. But arrested before dawn as he drove through the streets of Stockton armed with a handgun and possibly searching for another victim. Investigators began watching Wesley. They received tips about Wesley. They stopped him about 2 a.m. in the Central Valley City, where 5 of these shootings have taken place. Wesley Brownlee was dressed in black. He had a mask around his neck, had a gun, and was, quote, out hunting. And the police feel very confident that they stopped another killing last night or early this morning. It is unclear if Wesley Brownlee has an attorney at this time to speak on his behalf, but he is expected to be arraigned Tuesday on murder charges. And I'm sure ballistics has a little something to do with this. Now, police photos showed the black and gray weapon that was allegedly carried by Mr. Brownlee. It appears to be a semi-automatic handgun containing some non-metallic materials. Now, one thing we've talked about over here is these ghost guns that people are literally 3D printing on their 3D printers. They don't have serial numbers. Hey, what's up, everybody in the chat? Hey, Gloria, how are you? Dark Skin Avenger, good to see you. Heaven Sent, good to see you. Shout out to you, Heaven Sent. Now, police have been searching for a man clad in black who was caught on video at several of the crime scenes in Stockton, where 5 men were ambushed and shot to death between July 8th and September 27th. 4 of these men were walking, and 1 was in a parked car. Police believe the same person was responsible for killing a man 70 miles away in Oakland in April 2021, and for also wounding a homeless woman in Stockton a week later. Investigators have said that ballistics tests and video evidence are linked to these crimes, and at this news conference, a moment of silence was held for the victims. Now, Juan Serrano, age 39, was killed in Oakland on April the 10th, 2021. Natasha Latour, age 46, was shot in Stockton on April 16th of that year but survived. The 5 men killed in Stockton this year: Paul Yall, age 35, he died July the 8th. Salvador D. Buddy Jr., age 43, he was killed on August the 11th. Jonathan Hernandez Rodriguez, age 21, he was killed on August the 30th. Juan Cruz, age 52, he died September the 21st. And Lawrence Lopez Sr., age 54, who died on September the 27th. Police say that Wesley Brownlee has a criminal history and is believed to have also lived in several cities near Stockton, but they did not give further details. Authorities said they received hundreds of tips after announcing this manhunt for this suspected serial killer. All we had was grainy camera footage, and what people had picked out was like this distinct way that this individual walks. Authorities, they were really hesitant to even say the words serial killer. They were really hesitant to even say that a serial killer was operating in Stockton when they announced it not too long ago. But, quote, based on tips coming into the department and Stockton Crime Stoppers, we were able to zero in on a possible suspect. Our surveillance team followed this person while he was driving. We watched his patterns and determined early this morning he was on a mission to kill. McFadden added that Brownlee was detained after engaging in what appeared to be threatening behavior, including going to parks in dark places, stopping and looking around before driving on. He was doing really suspicious stuff. I am almost inclined to pull up the news conference. Investigators are still trying to determine a motive for these attacks. Police said some of the victims were homeless, but not all. None were beaten or robbed. And the woman who survived said her attacker didn't say a word. Hold that thought.
Good afternoon, ladies and gentlemen, and thank you for being here. Before I begin the statement on behalf of the Office of the District Attorney, I'd like all of us to take a moment of silence for these victims. If you would join me. The other day we saw an article in the paper that talked about serial killers in San Joaquin County. Some were not ours. They simply died at CDUCR's facility in Stockton. But the few that were ours, they wanted to emphasize that they had come to our community. But what they missed was that they all had been arrested, successfully prosecuted, and removed from the street. And that's what happened here. So we want to thank our partners in law enforcement, Stockton Police Department, Chief McFadden, thank you, Catherine Nance, Sager, all of them who have worked, their detectives, officers on the street, who have worked so hard and dedicated themselves to ensuring the arrest and apprehension of this suspect. We've worked with fellow local, state, and federal agencies who assisted in the capture of this suspect, Wesley Brownlee. I want to thank District Attorney Ron Freitas-elect, Chief James Boyko from the Bureau of Investigations, and a marvelous team from my office, supervising Deputy District Attorney Caitlin Casey, Deputy District Attorneys Janet Smith and Elton Grau for their hard work and dedication, 24 hours a day, 7 days a week, on this case and all the other cases that they handle. They're the most ethical, professional, hardworking people you could have the privilege of working with. The City of Stockton, all of their resources were made available during the course of this investigation. So thank you, City Manager. We appreciate that. ATF and our business community, our spiritual community. I couldn't go 5 feet in this community where people weren't saying prayers that we find this individual, and prayers for the survivors and families that have been so terribly harmed by these crimes. I want to thank all of them, also those who contributed to the reward amount. In conjunction with Stockton Police Department, the San Joaquin County District Attorney's Office is committed to ensuring the safety of our community. My administration has been working around the clock to providing any necessary resources that the Stockton Police Department would need during the course of this investigation into these tragic killings. My deputy district attorneys, who have been here all night, are reviewing the evidence as we speak, and they're working actively in partnership with the investigation to determine the charges that will proceed on. The defendant, because I'm no longer ever going to say his name again, because he doesn't deserve to have a name. He doesn't deserve to be out there. So the defendant is what we're going to call him from now on. The defendant will have charges, will be arraigned in court on Tuesday afternoon at 1:30. At that point, after the arraignment, we'll have a press conference announcing the charges and discussing those charges further with you. This is a very fluid and ongoing investigation. So we will most likely be adding charges, but at this time, we have to bring him before a magistrate within 48 hours. That clock's running now, so we have till Tuesday to bring him in. We'll arraign him at that time, and then we'll proceed to continue to assist with the investigation and also assist in healing our community. Our Family Justice Center, our doors are open, our victim witness services are available, and we're here to help. This crime was solved because we're Stocktonians, because you don't come to our house and bring this kind of reign of terror and not mobilize 350,000 people, 780,000 in this whole entire county, mobilized, and captured this individual whose reign of terror is no longer.
We want to go now out to Northern California. We brought you that press conference earlier with Stockton, California police officials, and they say they have all the hallmarks. They have a person of interest who is committing serial murder, 6 killings associated with this particular event. We're being joined by Fox 2 Bay Area reporter Brooks Giroux in the Fox 2 newsroom. Brooks, what have you learned? What were the highlights of this press conference?
Listen, man, this is scary. It's really, really scary. It really is. Man, shout out to everybody that came through, and shout out to everybody out there on the various Leak U platforms that we are streaming on before we get up out of here. Shout out to the Leak U community. Please join us on Spotify, Apple Podcasts, Google Podcasts, and Amazon Music.
Please hit the like. Thank you.
Yeah, man, y'all have a fantastic rest of your weekend. I will pretty much be streaming. I'll be focusing on, our crime and investigations platform, as well as our Leak U podcast platform. That's where you'll be able to catch me, or I'll be on the Mars Anomaly channel streaming one of our mini gigapans. Y'all have a fantastic rest of your weekend. Until next time.
Conference today.
Well, the big highlight is some new surveillance video that we'll get to in just a moment with a person of interest. But one of the unique things that has happened over the last 24 to 48 hours is they have connected a killing here in the Bay Area in Oakland to all of those killings in Stockton. And it really comes down to ballistics and testing. I was talking with some law enforcement experts who say that there is a way that they can use a microscope, and when they have all the evidence like bullets or shell casings, they can use a microscope to find unique markings on those shell casings, and that is something that then they can put into a database and connect all of these crimes. The question here in this case, who is pulling the trigger?